In this retro recipe, I use an ingredient I've never tried before. Hey everyone, I've got another vintage recipe for us in this video from 1984, the McCall's Cooking School Cookbook, and this is crumb-coated chicken with a sour cream sauce. And this uses something I've never used before in my life. I've never tasted it, and that is this. But apparently North America loves it. So I'm kind of excited to have my first taste of stovetop stuffing, even though it's not going to be in the form of stuffing. This is actually the coating on the chicken. So these are chicken breasts that have been boned. I wasn't old enough in 1984 to know how chicken was being sold, and if anyone knows if they were of market shopping age, or if they paid attention to what their parents were purchasing, were boneless, skinless chicken breasts available like they are now? Because in here it has you buying the whole breast and then boning them yourselves, but of course we don't have to do that now. All right, so let's get started. This is really very simple. We need a small chopped up onion that gets mixed with the stovetop for the crumb coating. Let me chop this up really quickly. Got my oven preheating to 375. And this should be finely cut. Kind of a mince almost. And then to the stuffing mix, there's additional parsley added, and it specifies the savory herb version of stovetop. I will put a detailed list of the ingredients and the amounts in the description. Right, for the crumb mix, it is stuffing and a shell. That's for the soup mix. So I need, well, we'll talk about the soup when I get to the soup. Let's get this made first. A package of stovetop. Toss it with some parsley. Let's see how much. 1 tablespoon parsley flakes. Not quite a tablespoon. There we go. And the onion. This bakes for a full hour. Otherwise, I'd be a little wary of raw onion in this. Okay, set that aside. And then the liquid to dip it in is going to be a can of cream of mushroom soup. So 1 can is used now for dipping, and another one is used towards the end for the sauce, the sour cream sauce. So it's a can of soup, 1/4 cup of milk. Is that all? Yep, that's it. So instead of using something like a beaten egg prior to dipping something in crumbs, this is the adhesive, a flavorful adhesive. This is kind of 80s, isn't it? Using cans and boxes. Okay, so I have my chicken already cut and thinned out with the mallet. And I'm going to use, if you saw my favorite non-stick pan video, I'm using the baking sheets that are part of that line, and I still haven't used them enough to recommend them. I want to use, I don't know, maybe a good 25 times or so before I can give them my recommendation. So I'm going to put the sour cream back in the fridge because we won't need that till later. Here's the pan. You can see it's got that same texture. So the chicken only gets coated on the one side with the crumbs. Dip it completely into the soup mix. And firmly press into the crumb mixture. Well, I don't think a little bit on the back will hurt anything. On here, and I'm just going to put the extra seasoning over the top. Find any little spots that look bare. Make sure everyone gets a tasty bite for every bite. This is about close to 4 pounds. Chicken breast, not quite. The recipe calls for 5 pounds bone-in, so this is probably close to that. Okay, great. And then it goes into the preheated 375-degree oven for an hour, like I mentioned earlier. Then I'm going to come back and make the sauce. Right, now to make the sauce, I put medium heat on, and then this is the remaining soup from what the chicken was dipped into. Put that in the pan and bring it up to enough heat so that it is safe to eat. And then also a second can. And you can use the golden mushroom soup also for this. All right, this is starting to make sounds of boiling. I turned the chicken off. It's only been 45 minutes, but it was very fragrant, so I checked it with the thermometer, and the chicken is done. It doesn't need a whole hour, and I don't want it to dry out. Let's see. Not quite. I want to get this to 160 and then turn it down before I add the sour cream. It doesn't say to do this in the book, but I think it was a mistake of them not to say to cook this so that it's a safe temperature after raw chicken has been in it. And then if sour cream boils, of course, it's going to split or curdle. So I'll add it once this term comes down. All right, we're just about there. Just make sure the whole thing is at 160. We got 175. That's good. So I'll turn off the heat. And then the sour cream is equal parts of soup to the sour cream. And an optional step is, as you see on here, I don't know if you can tell on the camera, the sauce looks a little bit pink, and that is because you can also add a can of tomato soup if you like. And I would not like that, so I am not going to do that. I'll just do sour cream, and then another option is using seasoned salt. So I'll see how this tastes once I add the sour cream. I imagine it's going to be pretty bland, but the stuffing mix has a lot of seasoning in it, I assume. I've never had it before, but this might get a little bit of salt. So let me cool this, and then we will go out to the table and plate it up and see how it tastes. If you're curious about this pan so far, let me show you what's going on with it. As far as the non-stick, it's still a little hot. I'm going to gently, I don't want my metal to, actually, let me do it with a rubber spatula. I still have to be careful. Okay, so like this caramelized, it's coming right up, even though it's kind of dry, baked on dry. It just comes right up. Just cleanly comes up. So I'm happy with this. This is the Circulon non-stick. I'll link it, but again, I haven't used it. You know, this is probably the 10th time I've used this pan, so it's not enough for me to recommend it just yet. See, it comes right up. I like it so far. If it makes it to another, 15 uses, I'll do another video. All right, let's try this. With that, bring up a plate. Looks very tasty. All right, I'm a stovetop first timer, even though this isn't traditionally how you eat it. Get some of the sauce. Yeah, well, now it's got sauce on it. I'm just gonna show you how it looks. Let me turn it. You know, I'll know what cooked chicken looks like, I'm sure. I love the crunch. Crunchy is my favorite texture. It really is seasoned just perfectly. The chicken is tender. The sauce is mild, however, it's good that it's mild. Of course, it's dense and creamy from the sour cream and the mushroom soup, but anything stronger, other than the little bit of onion granules I put in there to enhance the flavor. It would compete too much with the delicate herbs of the herb stuffing mix. So I could see this being a family favorite. It's very easy to make and satisfying. Good job, Stovetop and McCall's Cooking School.